Hello, this is the test video for my computer science A-level coursework. To start off with, we'll be doing tests 1 through 10, which will be the opening of my game, the map generation to make sure all the parts of my sprite map appear, the generation of my player. I'll also be doing in the same test, test 11 through 14, which will be my WASD keys, allowing my player to move forwards and backwards. I will also be doing my test 17, which will be that the camera follows the player as it proceeds through the map. The generation of my collision rectangles. So when I press my Z key, a square rectangle or a square rectangle collision box will appear around my player, my enemy, and then around the boundaries of my map so that you can visibly see when you hit a collision box, so it's easier for developer mode. I also test the collision of the walls of my game and my player, and between my player and the enemy sprite. We'll also see test 24, which will be the spawning in of my enemy sprite. And we'll also be viewing that my test 27, if my A star works, and my enemy progressively follows my player as it occurs. So there's my player. And my enemy following my player. So that's my test 27 ticked off. When I press Z, we can see that the collision boxes appear. My player bounces off those, and it will also bounce off the enemy, like so. You can see that my player just outdoes my enemy like this. So that's the collision between my player and my enemy. And I'll open up the game again, and then I'll do a guide over the map and make sure that the procedural map appears and everything internal to the map appears correctly. So at the moment we're in my big yellow star, which is one of my map procedures that I'm glad spawned in correctly. Head down here, use my D key to rotate to the right and my A key to rotate to the left, with W going forwards and S going backwards. There's my red ringed planet. I'm glad that one spawned in as well. We're now going to go towards my blue planet. There's my blue planet. Make sure that none of it has incorrectly loaded in. Now heading off to the black hole, which was in the round system where my enemy was going to spawn. There you go, black hole fully spawned in correctly. I'll now go to my dark yellow planet. Here's my dark yellow planet. And I'll go to my yellow ring planet. Here's my yellow ring planet. I'll wait here for a few moments to see if my enemy will appear on the screen to prove that my A star pathfinding is working. There's my enemy, tracking and then locating on top of the player, and then he stays on top of my player because the collision between the boundaries means I cannot escape. Now I'll be testing 28, which will be that when my shell is fired, that it appears on the screen, and I'll also test that when escape button is pressed, the game closes, and I'll do another test when the back button is pressed, the game will also close. That is test 29 and 30 for those. So when I press space, my projectile is spawned in. And then when I press my back button, the game closes correctly. Mispress the button there. Then when I press my escape button, the game should close again. There we go. So that's my 2 tests working there. I'm just going to come down to the bottom and put a breakpoint in on my enemy list. So that when each time an enemy spawns, it is correctly populating the correct list. And whilst I'm doing that, I'll also test my shell list is being populated. So I'll just come down to where my shell list is, which is in my main game 1 code near the bottom. I believe I put a breakpoint in these two. I'll be able to see what is inside of the shell list when the game runs and tests are being fired. And if I just continue it, and continue it, and continue it, I have put the breakpoints on the wrong ones. Breakpoint on there, and I should be able to visibly see if shells are being added to the shell list from there. And I'll also be able to test here to see if any shells are being added, because it will create a new shell list there for me. I'll do a similar thing with my enemies. And I'll be able to go to list_enemies. And I'll be able to put a breakpoint in here to see if an enemy is being populated inside that for each loop. So just turn off that breakpoint for now, and I'll come back to it. I'll close that one for now, and I'll just come back to it when the game is visibly open and running. Now I see it working. I'm just going to close it, put my breakpoint in now, come back to the game, and we can see if I hover over, I have got 6 enemies spawning on the map, which is the value I gave to my enemies. So if I now close that and go back to my shell list, and come to here, I'll just close the program and reopen the program. And I press spacebar. Should see the count is 0 for the moment, but if I continue and reopen the game, and if I press the spacebar and add some shells to my list, and then breakpoint there, and then go back into the game and press spacebar again, should see the count is now 12, representing that the shell list is all working and all my tests are valid.